The history of mankind has always been like a massive book with plenty of pages still missing. Every time archaeologists or historians dig into the past, there's a chance they'll find far more than another ancient object. Sometimes, they come across something so bizarre that even they can't explain how it could possibly exist. From the Cerruti Mastodon site, which could destroy the accepted timeline of humans in the Americas, to the million-year-old workshop, these are the 15 discoveries that seem impossible, but they're 100% real. Let's begin this list with number 15, the ancient obsidian workshop well, more than 1.2 million years ago, in what we now call Ethiopia. An unknown group of our relatives was turning volcanic glass into terrifyingly sharp tools. At Simbiro III, within the Melka Kuncher complex, archaeologists studied 575 obsidian artifacts, including more than 30 hand axes. And that number isn't even the strangest part. Obsidian can produce razor-sharp edges, but it is brittle and difficult to shape without breaking, which simply means whoever worked here had learned how to handle it with absolute control. The artifacts came from level C, which is a geological layer dated to more than 1.2 million years ago, where an ancient river had apparently deposited large amounts of obsidian. Instead of simply picking up whatever stones were available, these hominins repeatedly worked the glass into similar forms. Researchers still cannot say who made them, although Homo erectus is one possibility. Whoever they were, their workshop pushes this kind of organized tool-making astonishingly far back into our distant past. Number 14, Durendal, the legendary sword from the mighty Mjolnir of Norse mythology to Excalibur from the legends of King Arthur. Humans have always given certain weapons lives of their own. Durendal belongs to that strange company. In the medieval Song of Roland, the sword is carried by Roland, a warrior tied to the court of Charlemagne and the disastrous fighting at Ronchevo Pass in 778 AD. The poem claims Durendal's golden hilt held sacred relics, including a tooth of St. Peter, blood of St. Basil, hair from St. Denis, and part of the Virgin Mary's clothing. Roland supposedly tried to smash the blade against stone rather than let enemies take it, yet the sword would not break. Centuries later, another story claimed he hurled Durendal toward Rocamadour, France, where a sword remained fixed high in a cliff for generations. Local officials later called that object a replica, but the question never quite died: could a real sword have sat behind the legend all along? Number 13. The sacred footprint of Sripada Mount Sinai, Mt. Fuji, and mighty Kailash are all mysterious and sacred, but Sripada has been claimed by an incredible mix of religions for centuries. Long before Buddhism reached Sri Lanka around 246 BC, people already revered the mountain as the home of Saman, who was an ancient local god. Then there is the strange footprint at its summit. Buddhists say Buddha left it during his third visit to the island. South Indian Hindus connected it with Shiva, while Muslims believed Adam first touched earth here after being expelled from paradise. Christians later argued for St. Thomas. The stories became stranger still. Fahian mentioned the mountain in 411 to 412 C, Arab traveler Sulaiman visited around 850, and Ibn Battuta climbed it in 1344. He even recorded a tale that Chinese pilgrims had removed the footprint's big toe section and carried it to China. By 1411, Chinese Admiral Zheng He was bringing imperial offerings to the sacred site. One footprint somehow gathered believers from all over the world, and nobody ever agreed whose it was. Number 12. The mysterious neurologic bronze statuettes. We know these horned figurines look a bit scary, but what they may represent is far stranger and scarier. Around 1200 BC, the Mediterranean world was falling apart as the mysterious sea peoples attacked Egypt, the Hittites, Ugarit, and Cyprus. And among them were the Shurden, warriors shown in Egyptian carvings carrying round shields and wearing horned helmets. Their homeland, however, was never clearly recorded. Well, that is why the bronze warriors found in Sardinia are so intriguing. They were made by the island's neurologic culture, and many statuettes portray fighters with strangely similar helmets, shields, and military dress. Even the ancient Nora stone, a Phoenician inscription discovered in Sardinia, contains the name RDN, adding another strange piece to the puzzle. Were the Shurden actually Sardinian warriors who sailed east and joined the Sea Peoples? Or did they arrive in Sardinia after those wars ended? We still don't have that answer, and these tiny bronze warriors aren't giving it away. What's your take on it? Number 11. The Muwu dragon. When people talk about dragons, their minds usually go straight to China. But Mesopotamia had its own dragon long before many later legends were written. The creature was called Muwu, and it looked nothing like the winged fire breathers we know today. Babylonian artists gave it a long, scaly body, a stretched neck, a horned head, lion-like forelegs, and the clawed hind feet of a bird. Its most famous appearance survives on the Ishtar Gate of Babylon, which was built under Nebuchadnezzar II Sek about 575 BCE, where rows of Muwu figures were placed beside bulls and lions. The animal was closely associated with Marduk, Babylon's chief god, and earlier with deities like Tishpak. In fact, similar serpent dragons appear throughout Mesopotamian myths, including creatures linked with Tiamat and the Labu tradition. The question is not whether Babylonians believed in dragons. They clearly did. What keeps this creature chilling is how early its strange body plan appears, centuries before dragons became a Hollywood thing. Number 10. The ancient paintings of Punt. Ancient Egyptians described a land where gold, myrrh, incense, ivory, exotic animals, and rare trees could be found in abundance. They called it Punt, and they traded with its people for centuries. But strangely, they never left us a clear answer about where this wealthy land actually was. Paintings inside the tomb of Rekhmire, who was an 18th dynasty vizier, make the mystery even harder to ignore. The walls portray foreign traders, unusual goods, and people connected with Punt, while other Egyptian scenes famously show its distinctive houses raised on stilts. Egypt clearly knew this place well enough to travel there, so how did its location disappear from history? Researchers have searched across the Horn of Africa, with Eritrea and Somalia among the leading possibilities, while Arabia has also received some attention. Scientific studies have narrowed the possibilities, but no universally accepted site has been identified. Punt was almost certainly real. Finding where it once stood is the part that still makes the story more puzzling. Number 9. The Orphic gold tablets. The meaning of death is something humans have wrestled with forever, and the ancient Greeks were no different. But there were some people who went much further. They were buried with tiny sheets of gold carrying instructions for what to do after they died. Today we call them the Orphic gold tablets, although scholars still debate whether they belong to one organized religion. Examples dating mainly from the 5th to 2nd centuries BC have been found in southern Italy, Sicily, Crete, Thessaly, and Macedonia. Their messages are remarkably specific. The dead are warned to avoid one spring in the underworld, look for another beside a white cypress, drink from the lake of memory, and speak certain words to the guardians. Some tablets even tell the soul to declare itself divine or pure before Persephone. One example from Petelia, dated roughly 300–200 BC, survives in the British Museum. These were not poems for decoration. They were guides meant to be carried beyond death. History is perplexing, isn't it? Number 8. The Japanese mermaid mummy for centuries, Enjuin Temple in Okayama Prefecture, kept something that looked as though it had crawled straight out of an old Japanese legend. The shriveled figure had a human-like upper body, clawed hands, a grimacing face, and the tail of a fish. According to temple tradition, the creature was caught in a fishing net sometime between 1736 and 1741, near what is now Kochi Prefecture. Stories soon grew around it, with some people linking mermaids or ninjyo to long life and others treating them as warnings of disaster. Modern researchers finally examined the specimen with CT scanning, X-rays, and other tests in 2022 and 2023. The results made the object stranger, not less interesting. Investigators found no complete animal skeleton inside. Instead, it had been assembled from cloth, paper, cotton, fish skin, animal hair, and other materials, then carefully shaped into a believable creature, whatever its maker intended. Someone spent extraordinary effort turning folklore into something people could actually touch. Number 7. The runic Mjolnir Sow. Was Thor a real god people genuinely believed could protect them? And is Mjolnir simply a myth that grew larger with time? A tiny object from Kalev on the Danish island of Lolland gave archaeologists a surprisingly direct answer about at least one part of that question. Found by a metal detectorist in 2014, the silver amulet measures only about 2.5 centimeters long and dates to the 10th century. Across its surface are Viking Age runes reading Mar X is, understood as, "This is a hammer." That short sentence matters because scholars had debated whether hundreds of similar amulets truly represented Thor's hammer. Runologist Lisbeth Emer of the National Museum of Denmark confirmed the reading, noting that the carver even omitted the first vowel in hammer and reversed one rune. Around 1,000 Mjolnir-shaped amulets are known from Britain, Russia, and the Baltic region. But the Kabelev example is amazingly mysterious. Number 6. The creepy faces of bog bodies. Well, yup, Europe's peat bogs have given archaeology some faces that are almost impossible to forget. Their skin survived. Their hair survived. In certain cases, even the food they ate shortly before death remained inside their stomachs. The reason is the bog itself. Cold, acidic, oxygen-poor peat can preserve soft tissue while slowly damaging the bones beneath it. Toland Man, discovered near Silkeborg, Denmark in 1950, is still the most famous example. He died sometime between roughly 405 and 380 BC, yet his closed eyes, beard stubble, and relaxed expression make him look disturbingly recent. Then you notice the leather noose still around his neck. His last meal contained grains and wild seeds eaten only hours before he died. Other bodies, including Grauball Man and Lindo Man, also show violent deaths. Scholars still debate whether every case involved sacrifice, execution, or murder. That uncertainty is what makes them so powerful. These are not skeletons we reconstruct in our heads. We can still see their faces. Number 5. Leah Phil. Ireland's Screaming Stone of Destiny. There are plenty of stones of destiny, but Ireland's Leah Phil comes with a story far stranger than most. According to the medieval Libor Gabla Wren, the mysterious Tuatha Dé Danann brought it to Ireland from the city of Fáilias, along with 3 other magical treasures. The stone supposedly stood at Tara, where it would cry out beneath the rightful king of Ireland. That would already be enough for a legend, except there is another problem. The pillar tourists see today may not be the original Leah Phil at all. The present stone on An Forad, or the King's Seat, was raised during the 1820s, and historian P.W. Joyce later argued that its size, about 12 feet long, made it unsuitable for ancient coronation ceremonies. Medieval descriptions instead placed the true stone north of the Mound of the Hostages. If Joyce was right, Ireland's famous Screaming Stone may still be somewhere beneath Tara, waiting to be found. Well, who knows? Number 4. The world's oldest cold case. If prehistoric humans had detectives, Cranium-17 would have given them quite a case. Its fragments came from Cima de los Huesos, the extraordinary cave site in Spain's Atapuerca Mountains, where researchers recovered remains belonging to at least 28 ancient individuals. In 2015, scientists published their reconstruction of this roughly 430,000-year-old skull, assembled from 52 fragments, and noticed something difficult to dismiss. Above the left eye were 2 separate fractures with remarkably similar shapes, apparently produced by the same object in 2 blows. Neither showed evidence of healing. Researchers concluded that the injuries were probably inflicted during a face-to-face act of violence, making this one of the earliest convincing cases of lethal interpersonal violence ever identified. Then comes the part that keeps the story open. The body somehow ended up inside a deep cave shaft with many others. Researchers have even suggested the remains may have been deliberately deposited there. We know how this individual likely died, but whoever delivered those blows disappeared 430,000 years ago. Number 3. The demon-slaying sword of Japan. Humans have talked about demons for as long as stories have survived, but trust us, Japan has something super unusual. A real ancient sword tied directly to one of those legends. Jigiri Yasutsuna, now preserved by the Tokyo National Museum, was forged by the swordsmith Yasutsuna of Hiki during the Heian period, 794–1185. Its name means roughly G-Slayer, because later tradition claimed the warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu used it to kill Shutenji, a terrifying oni said to haunt Mountie. The demon story itself became popular during the Muromachi period, centuries after the blade was made, which only makes the connection more intriguing. This was no forgotten weapon either. It later passed through the hands of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and Tokugawa Hidetada before reaching the Matsudaira family. Today, it is officially designated a national treasure of Japan. So, was it really used to kill demons? Number 2. The scandalous secrets of Littlemore Priory. Littlemore already had a terrible reputation long before archaeologists began digging around the medieval convent near Oxford. Church records from 1517 describe its prioress, Catherine Wells, breaking every rule she was supposed to enforce. She reportedly had a daughter by a priest, pawned valuables belonging to the convent, and punished troublesome nuns by putting them in the stocks. Then archaeology added another disturbing chapter. During excavations reported in 2015, researchers uncovered around 90 burials associated with the priory, including the skeleton of a woman placed face down, with the remains of a baby near her legs. That position immediately raised questions about who she was and why she had been treated differently in death. Wells herself was removed as prioress after the scandal, although she later returned, and Littlemore was finally dissolved in 1525. Whether that strange grave belonged to her remains uncertain. Number 1. The Emerald Buddha Well. The only mystery surrounding the Emerald Buddha is not why people worship it, but how such a small statue became one of Thailand's most powerful national symbols. The image stands only about 66 centimeters high and, despite its name, was carved from green jasper rather than emerald. Most scholars place its workmanship in northern Thailand around the 15th century, but older legends give it a far more ancient past. Today, it sits high above worshippers inside Wat Phra Kaeo in Bangkok, resting on a gilded throne shaped like a heavenly Busabok chariot. 3 sets of royal clothing are used during the year, and the King of Thailand himself changes them for the summer, rainy, and winter seasons. The summer and rainy season outfits were designed by King Rama I, while Rama III added the winter set. Its documented travels through places such as Chiang Rai, Lampong, Chiang Mai, and Vientiane only deepened its reputation before it finally reached Bangkok in 1784. Well, that's all from us. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Until then, stay curious, and we'll see you soon.